What if I told you that Formula One's newest team, backed by the might of General Motors, decided to ignore the hype, skip the flashy young guns, and instead place their entire future in the hands of two veterans, two men whose careers have already seen dizzying highs, crushing lows, and moments that defined entire eras of modern F1? That's right, Cadillac has announced that Sergio Pérez and Valtteri Bottas will lead their all-American charge onto the Formula One grid in 2026. And while at first glance it might sound like a safe, even predictable choice, the reality is far more dramatic. Why these two? Why not go with fresh blood like Colton Herta or Jack Crawford to wave the American flag? Why not give Daniel Ricciardo one last dance with the sport he loves? Why not build a team around a rising talent like Zhou Guanyu or Mick Schumacher, who both had strong ties to Cadillac's leadership? The answer reveals the real strategy behind Cadillac's debut. It's not about headlines, it's not about hype, it's about survival, credibility, and a long game that only seasoned drivers like Perez and Bottas can deliver. Today, we're going to dive deep into the story of why Cadillac signed these two men, what it says about the state of Formula One, and what it means for the future of the grid as we head into the 2026 regulations reset. Buckle up, because this isn't just a team announcement, this is a turning point in modern Formula One. Let's start with the basics. Formula One is entering a new era in 2026. New power units, new chassis regulations, and a clean slate for every team. But for Cadillac, that clean slate is twice as daunting. They're not just designing a new car under brand new rules, they're building a Formula One team from scratch. And here's the brutal truth. Most brand new F1 teams fail. Virgin Racing, HRT, Caterham, names that are now footnotes in F1 history books. They entered the sport with dreams of glory, only to fade away after struggling to score even a single point. Graeme Loudon, Cadillac's new team boss, knows this reality all too well. He lived it firsthand when he helped launch Virgin Racing back in 2010. He knows the chaos, the politics, the technical hurdles. And most of all, he knows that when you're starting from zero, you cannot afford to gamble on inexperience behind the wheel. That's why Perez and Bottas were chosen. They bring nearly 2 decades of combined F1 experience. They've won races, they've endured title fights, they've dragged midfield cars into places they never belonged. Cadillac isn't just hiring drivers, they're hiring mentors, leaders, and battle-hardened survivors of Formula One's harshest wars. Now let's talk about Sergio Pérez. On paper, he's the obvious choice. Over 280 race starts, a reputation as the tyre whisperer, the man who can stretch a set of Pirellis further than physics should allow, a driver who's made a career out of squeezing the absolute maximum from midfield machinery. And make no mistake, in 2026 Cadillac won't be fighting for championships, they'll be fighting to survive. They'll be battling in the midfield, scrambling for points and hoping for the odd miracle podium. And that's exactly where Perez thrives. Think back to his early years at Sauber, where he stunned the world by dragging an underdog car onto the podium 3 times. Or his long spell at Force India, where he became the symbol of resilience, regularly beating teams with double the budget. But Cadillac aren't just getting a point snatcher, they're getting a winner. Remember the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix? Perez, dead last after lap 1, stormed through the field in one of the most iconic comeback drives of the modern era. Racing Point couldn't believe it, fans couldn't believe it. Perez himself was in tears as he took the checkered flag for his first ever F1 victory. Then came Red Bull. Suddenly, Perez wasn't just a survivor, he was a champion maker. He became known as the Minister of Defense, holding back Lewis Hamilton in Abu Dhabi 2021, playing the ultimate team role in helping Max Verstappen snatch his first title. He added iconic wins in Monaco, Singapore, and Baku, cementing his reputation as the king of the streets. But Red Bull was no fairy tale. The second seat alongside Max Verstappen is Formula One's most brutal job. Many have tried, all have failed. Perez had his moments of brilliance, but he also had devastating slumps. By 2024 his confidence was fractured, and his time with Red Bull ended. Still, those years gave him something Cadillac desperately needs: insight into how a world-class championship-winning team operates. Perez knows the people, the systems, the culture required to build greatness. And let's not forget one more factor: the fans. Cadillac is an American team, but their biggest weapon is Perez's massive Mexican fanbase. The atmosphere at the Mexico City Grand Prix is already electric, but imagine it when Cadillac rolls in with their own driver in their own car. It's a marketing goldmine for Cadillac. Perez isn't just a driver, he's an asset, a proven winner, a bridge to one of the most passionate fanbases in the sport. But Cadillac didn't stop there. They wanted 2 winners. Enter Valtteri Bottas. Bottas's career has always been a study in contrasts. From his early days at Williams, where he quickly made a name for himself with 6 podiums in 2014, to his dramatic call-up to Mercedes after Nico Rosberg's shock retirement in 2016. Bottas stepped into the seat of a world champion, and within just 4 races he delivered his first win. Over 5 seasons with Mercedes, he scored 10 victories and helped secure 5 consecutive Constructors' Championships, but Bottas was never quite able to escape the shadow of Lewis Hamilton. For every win, there was a narrative that he wasn't fast enough, aggressive enough, ruthless enough. By 2021 he had moved to Alfa Romeo, where he rediscovered himself, not as a title contender, but as a gritty midfielder, dragging Sauber machinery into the points. Sound familiar? That's exactly the kind of driver Cadillac needs. Someone who knows how to maximize every scrap of performance, someone who understands the long game of development. And here's a crucial detail. Bottas has spent 2025 back at Mercedes, serving as a reserve driver and sharpening his skills in their cutting-edge simulator. He's been training with the best tools in F1, keeping his reflexes sharp and preparing for a comeback. For Cadillac, Bottas is the perfect complement to Perez. One is aggressive, opportunistic, a street-fighting king. The other is steady, disciplined and deeply experienced in the inner workings of the sport's most dominant team of the hybrid era. Together, they form a pairing that screams reliability, credibility, and a genuine shot at points in Cadillac's debut season. Of course, this wasn't a 2-man race. Cadillac had options and some of them were very tempting. Zhou Guanyu, managed by Graeme Loudon himself, Zhou seemed like a natural fit. He brought 3 years of F1 experience and fresh insight into Ferrari power units, which Cadillac will also use, but Cadillac chose proven winners instead of potential. Mick Schumacher, 2 years of F1 racing and Mercedes reserve experience, plus the Schumacher name, but hype doesn't score points and Cadillac didn't want nostalgia. Colton Herta and Kyle Kirkwood, IndyCar stars, American fan favorites, signing one of them would have been a PR masterstroke, but F1 experience counts for more than marketing when survival is on the line. Jack Crawford, a rising F2 talent, second in the championship, just 20 years old, the future perhaps but not the present. Daniel Ricciardo, the fan favorite, the smiling honey badger, 8 race wins, massive popularity, but Ricciardo himself seems at peace in retirement, openly admitting he's enjoying life outside F1. Cadillac couldn't risk betting on someone with one foot out the door. By choosing Perez and Bottas, Cadillac sent a clear message: they're not here to play games, they're here to score points, build foundations and grow year by year. Make no mistake, this is still a gamble. Formula One is merciless. New teams rarely succeed. Even with 2 proven race winners, Cadillac will face mountains to climb. Technical development, budget cap strategies, political battles inside F1's cutthroat ecosystem. But here's where it gets interesting. 2026 resets the playing field. Every single team, Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren, will be designing brand new cars under brand new rules. For Cadillac, this is the perfect moment to strike. They're not trying to catch up, they're starting alongside everyone else. And with 2 drivers who know what it takes to win, they just might surprise the world. So here we are, Cadillac, the newest name in Formula One, betting their future on 2 men who've already lived entire careers in the sport. Sergio Pérez, the relentless fighter, the Minister of Defense, the king of the streets, carrying the hopes of Mexico and the passion of millions. Valtteri Bottas, the quiet warrior, the man who stood shoulder to shoulder with Lewis Hamilton, who knows both the sweetness of victory and the grind of the midfield. Together, they'll lead Cadillac into F1's most uncertain era in decades. Will this gamble pay off? Will Cadillac shock the world and rise from newcomers to contenders? Or will history repeat itself and another new team fade into obscurity? One thing's for certain. The story of Cadillac, Perez and Bottas is just beginning, and Formula One fans everywhere will be watching. So now I'll throw it over to you. Do you think Cadillac made the right call? Should they have gone for fresh young blood, or did they play it smart by locking in 2 battle-tested veterans? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss breaking Formula One stories.